Hello, and in today's video we're responding to a question from an IT leader, which is, I've got someone in my team that just won't change. Any tips? So, what experience do we have with people that just won't change? Apart from us. What have you been trying on me?
So I think, seriously, I think we're taking an assumption that this isn't somebody in their team. This is maybe a peer, or they're working with someone else, so a stakeholder.
Yeah. So they haven't got direct line authority to act. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And we've got a behaviour that we're trying to change, like trying to get somebody to write better documentation in their code, for example, include tests in their work, something like that.
Yeah. That
they're not doing yet?
Yeah.
So where would you start?
So I would start by putting yourself in their shoes if you can. So understanding what's important to them, what are their priorities, because what's important to them may not be important to you, and vice versa. So sometimes just putting your mind in, where their space, particularly if they're in a different team, because they may have other things going on as well. So lots of other deadlines and projects that they're working on. So if you can do that, do. And we've got a model that we can share, which is what have you got in common? So identifying that. Because if you are delivering on the same project, but you're in different teams, that's the commonality. So then it comes down to what's next.
Yeah, very much so. There's certainly if you've got people coming in from different teams, let's say, and a good example of that is come appraisal time, assuming appraisals are still a thing in your organisation, will their line lead care about the work that they're doing with you? Is that relevant? Because if it's not, then already they've got one leg outside of your team, if you will. They're only part way connected to the work. So I think your job it's almost one of negotiation. You need to get a better understanding of the other person's situation, build some rapport, and then in doing that, you've then got an opportunity to influence their behaviour afterwards. So if they're not acting because there's an external influence, their boss, their team, their whatever says don't do that, then that might be your angle, that might be the direction to go in. It could be they're not acting in that way because they don't understand the ramifications of it. Oh, I didn't realise that if I didn't do that, this happened. Try and provide some empathy in there. And I think when we talked about delivering vision some time ago at least, we talked a little bit about the different styles of people. So help them to understand that challenge, that issue in their own context of where they are. All of those things, whether you're taking them out to coffee to have these conversations, don't be afraid, certainly in that context or don't be afraid if you have a worry or a concern or a thought as I think this thing might be bothering you, bring it up. It's much better to have the conversation, but come from a point of view of, I'm curious, if I were in your position, I'd be concerned about this. Is that something that worries you? Make it about you, and then it's not an accusatory statement. And
I think it comes back to, how can you help them, being that servant leader, put yourself in their shoes. After all, we're all human, and sometimes there'll be circumstances outside, the work environment that will be affecting them at any one point. So trying to be the better person, the more human person, and finding out, and it shouldn't take too long, it can happen pretty quickly. We're not talking about weeks and weeks and weeks of relationship building. We're just talking about how you're going to find those, little gems, little nuggets where you can navigate and go through and have a conversation. Because ultimately, if this behaviour is going on, and maybe it's well known, or maybe it's been going on for a year or so, then you need to have a conversation with the manager or your manager to broach that subject. But first and foremost, please don't go into the HR process and go, we need to deal with this person because they're not doing what they said they were going to do. They're not conforming. Build that relationship. We're in a tech organisation. We're all working together. It's much more open, much more collaborative. At least that's what we're striving for. So it's really important to be the better human and try and build that environment in your organisation.
Like, if we never fight and there are never differences of opinion, there's no diversity in their thinking in our teams anyway. So it's essential to come from that perspective. So we'll share some resources alongside this video as well. There's I mentioned negotiation earlier. There's a very good book I can recommend in that space as well, which comes from hostage negotiation actually, but covers a lot of techniques you may have already met, things like mirroring and otherwise, to help gather information from another person and build rapport, build trust with a person, at which point they're hopefully more likely to come your way and provide some, reveal some more information about where they are. So that may help. We can share the model.
Yeah, we share the commonality model.
Which is a nice graphic to think about how your relationship with that other person fits together. And there's at least another one of the videos that we've done around vision that might be worth it. So we'll have a think about that and add some additional resources to extend on it. The core advice really is around using, by learning about their world and the position that they're coming from, build some rapport that you can then use to influence their behaviour, if that's for the greater good of the team, the function, the organisation, and so on.
Yeah. I hope that helps. If you have any questions or would like to add to our tips, please do let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
You.